The deep space exploration vessel Eternal Horizon moved quietly through the darkness between stars. Captain Daewon sat in his command chair, watching the endless black void through the main viewport. His crew of 200 humans worked at their stations, recording data about this unexplored region of space. They had been traveling for 3 months, mapping new star systems and taking notes on planets that might support life someday. It was routine work, the kind that required patience and steady nerves. The ship itself was impressive. Earth had built it with the latest technology, designed to survive anything space could throw at it. Thick armor plating covered the hull. The engines could push them faster than most alien vessels. And though the Eternal Horizon was officially an exploration ship, it carried enough weapons to defend itself against pirates or hostile encounters. Earth never sent its people into unknown territory without protection. Daewon looked at the star charts on his display. They were in the Sigma Reach, a region far from human space where few other species traveled. The captain liked it out here. It was peaceful, quiet, away from the politics and noise of civilized space. His crew was good at their jobs. They worked well together. Nothing exciting ever happened, which was exactly how he preferred it. Then everything changed. Communications Officer Hana suddenly straightened in her seat. Her fingers danced across her console, bringing up audio channels and frequency analyzers. She pressed her headset closer to her ear, her face showing confusion. "Captain, I'm picking up something strange," she said. Her voice cut through the quiet bridge. "It's a signal, but not on any frequency we normally monitor." Daewon turned his chair toward her. "Origin? Unknown. It's very faint, like it's coming from far away or from a weak transmitter." Hana worked her controls, trying to clean up the signal. "Wait, I'm getting some clarity now." "Captain, it's a distress call." That got everyone's attention. First Officer Minji moved closer to Hana's station. Security Chief Taeho looked up from his tactical displays. Even the junior officers stopped what they were doing to listen. "Put it on speakers," Daewon ordered. Static filled the bridge. Then through the crackling noise they heard a voice. It spoke in a language none of them recognized, high-pitched and desperate. The words were alien, but the emotion was universal. Fear, terror, pleading. "Young-soo, get up here," Daewon said into his communicator. Within 2 minutes, the ship's language specialist arrived on the bridge. Young-soo was a thin man with sharp eyes who could decode alien languages faster than the ship's computers. He listened to the signal for several seconds, his expression growing darker. "It's a distress call, definitely," Young-soo confirmed. He pulled up his translation software and started feeding the audio into it. "The language is new to me, but I can work with the structure. Give me a few minutes." Those minutes felt like hours. The crew waited while Young-soo worked. The alien voice kept repeating the same message over and over. Finally, the translation software began producing text on the main screen. Young-soo read it aloud, his voice quiet. "They came without warning, attacking civilians. Our defenses are gone. They're slaughtering everyone, children hiding in shelters. We have no weapons. Please, anyone who can hear this. We need help, please." Silence fell over the bridge. Daewon felt his jaw tighten. He had served in Earth's defense forces before becoming an explorer. He knew what war looked like. He knew what happened when strong predators found weak prey. "Can you get coordinates?" he asked Hana. She worked her console. "Yes, sir." "The signal is coming from a planet in the Valith system. Distance is approximately 3 days away at maximum burn." Daewon pulled up the star charts. The Valith system showed as unexplored territory. No records of human contact, no information about who lived there, or what kind of civilization they had. Just empty space on the map, waiting to be filled in. "What about Earth Command?" Minji asked. She stood next to his chair, her arms crossed. "We should report this and let them send a military vessel." "Earth Command is 6 weeks away from here at best," Taeho said from his tactical station. "By the time they arrive, everyone on that planet will be dead." Minji shook her head. "We're explorers, not soldiers. We're not equipped for military action." "Yes, we are," Taeho replied. He brought up the ship's weapons manifest on the main screen. "We have railguns, missile pods, point defense systems, and enough ammunition to fight a small war. Earth doesn't send us out here defenseless." Daewon listened to them argue. He understood both positions. Minji was right that they were explorers first. But Taeho was also right that they had the tools to help. The real question was whether they had the duty to help. He thought about the alien voice in that distress call. The fear in it. The desperation. Someone was dying out there while he sat in his comfortable chair and debated. "We take a vote," Daewon said. "All crew members. This affects everyone, so everyone gets a say." Hana opened ship-wide communications. She did. Daewon explained the situation to his entire crew. An alien species under attack. Help weeks away. Their ship close enough to respond in 3 days. The choice to act or to pass by. "Everyone who wants to respond to the distress call, send your vote to the bridge," he said. "You have 5 minutes." The votes came in quickly. Engineers, scientists, medical staff, security personnel, even the cooks and maintenance workers. Daewon watched the numbers climb on his display. When the 5 minutes ended, he looked at the final count. 200 votes to respond. 0 votes to ignore it. He felt a strange pride in his crew. They were scientists and explorers, but they were still human. Still willing to help strangers in need, even if it meant danger. "All hands, this is the captain," Daewon said into the ship-wide channel. "Battle stations. We're going to maximum burn toward the Valith system. Engineering, I need every bit of speed you can give me. Security, start preparing weapons and combat gear. Medical, set up for potential casualties. Science teams, analyze everything we can learn about that system before we arrive." The ship came alive with activity. Crew members ran to their stations. The engines increased power, pushing the eternal horizon faster through space. In the manufacturing bays, 3D printers started producing ammunition and spare parts for the weapon systems. Daewon sent a compressed data package back toward Earth space. It contained the distress call, their current position, and their intention to respond. If something went wrong, at least Earth would know what happened to them. He looked at the star chart again. 3 days to Valith, 3 days to prepare for whatever they would find there, 3 days before his exploration crew became something else. Young-Soo approached his chair, holding a data tablet. "Captain, I've been analyzing the distress call more carefully. I found something troubling." "Tell me." "The aliens mentioned they came without warning. I did some research in our database. This region of space has records of an empire called the Kralith Dominion. They're known for aggressive expansion and subjugating weaker species. If they're the ones attacking, we're not just dealing with pirates. We're dealing with an organized military force." Daewon nodded slowly. "How do they compare to human military capability?" Young-Soo hesitated. "Unknown. We've never fought them, but they've controlled this sector for 300 years. No one has successfully resisted them." "Then maybe it's time someone did," Daewon said quietly. The eternal horizon raced through the darkness toward Valith, carrying 200 humans who had just chosen to stand between innocent aliens and their attackers. None of them knew that this decision would change everything, that this single act of compassion would introduce the galaxy to what humans truly were. The Deathworlders were coming to war. 3 days passed too quickly. The eternal horizon dropped out of faster-than-light travel at the edge of the Valith system, and what they saw made the entire bridge crew fall silent. Captain Daewon gripped the arms of his command chair as the sensor displays painted a picture of absolute devastation. The space around the planet Valith was a graveyard. Pieces of destroyed spacecraft drifted in orbit, their metal hulls torn apart by weapons fire. Defense satellites hung dead and broken. Debris fields scattered across thousands of kilometers told the story of a civilization that had tried to defend itself and failed completely. Small civilian transports floated among the wreckage. Their escape pods never launched, their passengers never given a chance to flee. 3 ships in orbit, Hana reported from her station. Her voice was steady, but Daewon could hear the anger underneath. "Large vessels matching the configuration of Kralith warships according to our database. They're maintaining position over the main population centers." Taeho studied his tactical displays. "They're firing on the surface. Energy weapons, systematic bombardment patterns. They're not trying to capture territory. They're just killing." On the main screen, Daewon watched the 3 alien warships. They were massive, each one twice the size of the eternal horizon. Their dark hulls bristled with weapon ports. Occasionally, bright flashes of energy lanced down toward the planet below, each shot erasing more lives. "Life signs on the planet?" Daewon asked. The science officer checked her readings. "Still detecting organized population clusters, but they're decreasing. Most are underground now, probably in shelters. Sir, at their current rate of bombardment, those shelters won't last more than a few hours." Daewon made his decision. Hana, open a channel to those ships. Let's see if we can talk first. Channel open, sir. Attention, Kralith vessels. This is Captain Daewon of the Earthship Eternal Horizon. You are attacking a civilian population. Cease fire immediately and withdraw from this system. For a moment, nothing happened. Then one of the Kralith ships turned to face them. The main screen flickered and an alien face appeared. Daewon had seen many species during his years in space, but the Kralith commander was something different. Reptilian features, sharp teeth visible even when its mouth was closed, eyes that showed only cold calculation. This was a predator species, one that had evolved to hunt and kill. The Kralith commander looked at Daewon and laughed. The sound was harsh and mocking. Human, it said, its voice translated by the computer. We have no record of your species in this sector. You are far from home in a very small ship. This planet and its population belong to the Kralith Dominion now. Leave while you still can, or we will add your wreckage to the debris field. Daewon leaned forward. I gave you a warning. Cease fire and withdraw. You have 10 seconds to comply. The alien commander's laughter grew louder. 1 ship against 3 Kralith warships? You are either brave or stupid. We have conquered this sector through strength. We have never lost a battle here. You are about to learn why. The screen went dark as the Kralith commander cut the communication channel. Immediately, all 3 warships changed their orientation, turning away from the planet and toward the eternal horizon. Their weapon ports lit up with charging energy. So much for talking, Minji said quietly. All hands combat stations, Daewon ordered. Taeho weapons free. Show them what Earth builds. The Kralith ships opened fire first. Massive bolts of plasma energy screamed across the distance between them and the human vessel. They were powerful shots, the kind designed to cripple large warships in a single barrage. The weapons that had destroyed the planet's defenses now focused on the eternal horizon. The plasma struck the human ship's shields, and for a second the entire vessel was surrounded by a sphere of crackling energy. The lights on the bridge flickered. Then the shields held, dispersing the energy across their entire surface. Earth's engineers had designed these shields to withstand impacts from asteroids and solar radiation. They could handle plasma weapons, shields at 85%, Taeho reported, hull integrity perfect. Returning fire, the Eternal Horizon's railguns opened up. These were not energy weapons. They were kinetic weapons, firing solid metal slugs accelerated to incredible speeds. When humans went to war, they preferred to hit their enemies with actual mass moving at relativistic velocities. The first railgun shot crossed the distance in less than a second. It struck the lead Kralith warship's shields, and those shields simply vanished. The second shot punched through the ship's armor plating, through its interior compartments and out the other side. Atmosphere vented from the wounds. Internal explosions rippled along the vessel's hull. Direct hit, Taeho said with satisfaction. Their shields can't handle kinetic impacts. Switching to missile pods. The missile launchers on the Eternal Horizon opened, releasing dozens of hypersonic warheads. These were not the slow, easily tracked missiles that most species used. Human missiles were fast, smart, and carried multiple warheads that could separate and strike different targets. The Kralith point defense systems tried to intercept them and failed. Too many missiles, moving too fast, adjusting their courses too quickly. The damaged Kralith warship tried to maneuver away, but it was too slow. Missiles impacted along its length, each explosion tearing away more armor, destroying more systems. Within 90 seconds of the battle's start, the first Kralith warship was dead in space, venting atmosphere and debris. The other 2 Kralith vessels showed more caution. They spread out, trying to attack from different angles. Their plasma weapons fired continuously, hammering at the Eternal Horizon's shields. But the human ship moved with surprising agility for its size, rolling and adjusting position to keep the strongest shield sections facing the enemy fire. Second target locked, Taeho announced. Firing, the railgun spoke again. The second Kralith warship tried to dodge, but it was not built for quick maneuvers. The first shot clipped its engines, sending it spinning. The second shot found its reactor core. The ship exploded in a brilliant flash that made the bridge crew look away from their screens. The third Kralith commander apparently decided that honor and pride were not worth dying for. The warship's engines flared to full power, trying to build enough speed to jump to faster-than-light travel. It was a desperate move, turning its back on an enemy to flee. Not today, Daewon said quietly. Taeho, don't let it escape! The tactical officer worked his controls. The Eternal Horizon had one more weapon system, something most species did not use in space combat. A high-powered laser designed for precision work. Tejo used it now, targeting the fleeing ship's FTL drive assembly. The laser burned through the ship's hull and destroyed the delicate machinery that would have let it escape. The Kralith warship drifted, unable to jump away, its engines damaged. Tejo fired one more railgun shot. It was a mercy in a way, faster than letting them drift in space waiting for life support to fail. The third warship joined its companions in death. The entire battle had lasted 4 minutes. Silence filled the bridge. The crew stared at their displays, processing what had just happened. They had destroyed 3 military warships that had terrorized this sector for generations. They had done it so quickly that it almost seemed easy. But Daewon knew it was not easy. It was the result of superior technology, better tactics, and the simple fact that humans had spent their entire history learning how to fight. Damage report, Daewon said. Shields at 40% and recharging, Tejo replied. Some minor stress damage to the hull plating. No injuries. All weapon systems still operational. Scan the planet. Find me survivors. The science team worked quickly, sending detailed scans across the planet's surface. Youngsu brought up the results on the main screen. I'm detecting life signs in underground shelter complexes. Approximately 3,000 individuals concentrated in the main colony site. But sir, there are still Kralith ground forces down there. They're hunting the survivors. Daewon stood up from his chair. Tejo, assemble a landing party. 50 security personnel, full combat gear. Medical teams to accompany. We're going down there. Minji stepped forward. Captain, you should stay with the ship. Let Tejo lead the ground mission. No, Daewon said. These people called for help. They deserve to see that someone answered. I'm going. Within 20 minutes, the landing force was ready. Dropships launched from the Eternal Horizon, carrying armed humans toward the planet's surface. Dr. Sujin sat next to Daewon in the lead dropship, checking her medical supplies. She was a small woman, but Daewon had seen her work through disasters that would break stronger people. If there were survivors down there, she would save them. The dropships descended through smoke and fire. The Kralith bombardment had set entire districts burning. The colony below had been beautiful once, Daewon could see that. Elegant architecture, gardens, wide streets. Now it was a war zone. They landed near the largest shelter complex. Tejo's security team spread out immediately, weapons ready, scanning for threats. The thermal imaging showed Kralith soldiers moving through the ruins, searching for any aliens who had not made it to the shelters. Locate those hostiles, Daewon ordered. Protect the civilians. Show these Kralith what happens when they prey on the weak. The shelter complex was buried 20 meters underground, protected by thick layers of reinforced material. Tejo's security team used their cutting tools to break through the sealed entrance, while the rest of the humans formed a defensive perimeter. Every soldier held their weapon ready, watching the smoke-filled ruins around them for any sign of Kralith soldiers. Captain Daewon stood near the entrance waiting. He could hear sounds from inside the shelter. Frightened voices, alien languages, the shuffle of many bodies pressed together in darkness. These were the survivors, the ones who had hidden while their world burned above them. The cutting tool finished its work. The door fell inward with a heavy crash. Lights from the human armor suits pierced the darkness inside. And then Daewon saw them. They were small, fragile-looking beings with features that reminded him of birds. Large eyes, delicate bone structure, thin limbs. They huddled together in groups, adults surrounding children, all of them staring at the armed humans with obvious fear. Some were injured, burns and wounds from the bombardment. All of them looked exhausted and terrified. Daewon removed his helmet so they could see his face. He held up both hands, showing he meant no harm. Youngsu stepped forward, his translation device ready. We are humans from the planet Earth, Youngsu said, the device converting his words into the local language. We received your distress call. We came to help. You are safe now. For a long moment, nobody moved. Then an elderly alien stepped forward, her feathers streaked with gray. She looked at Daewon with eyes that had seen too much horror. The destroyers, she said, her voice translated into English. The Kralith. Are they gone? The ships in orbit are destroyed, Daewon told her. We still have soldiers on the surface, but my people are hunting them now. How many survivors are in this shelter? 3,000 of us, the elder replied. We are all that remains. Our colony had 15,000 before they came. 4 days ago, the Kralith arrived. They demanded we surrender, that we give them slaves and resources. We refused. They started bombing us from space. We never had a military. We never needed one. We are Villani. We do not fight. Daewin felt anger burn in his chest. These people were peaceful, harmless. They had been attacked simply because they could not defend themselves, because predators like the Kralith saw weakness and exploited it. "What is your name?" he asked the elder. "I am Theria, leader of what remains of my people. Theria, I am Captain Daewon. My doctor will treat your wounded. My soldiers will secure the area, and I promise you, the Kralith will never hurt you again." Dr. Su-jin and her medical teams moved into the shelter, carrying supplies and portable equipment. They worked quickly, identifying the most seriously injured and stabilizing them. The Villani watched in amazement as these strange aliens worked with gentle efficiency, their hands steady and their voices calm. Taeho approached Daewon, his expression grim. "Captain, thermal imaging shows approximately 40 Kralith soldiers spread across the colony. They're hunting in packs, searching buildings for survivors. We need to eliminate them before they find this shelter or any others." "Do it," Daewon said. "Take half the security team. I want the other half here protecting the civilians. And Taeho, no mercy. They came here to slaughter innocents. Show them what that costs." Taeho nodded and signaled to his squad leaders. 25 humans moved out into the burning ruins of the colony, armed and dangerous. Sergeant Yunha led the first squad, her rifle held ready as they navigated through collapsed buildings and smoking craters. The first Kralith hunting pack was easy to find. They were not being subtle, their heavy footsteps loud in the quiet ruins. Yunha positioned her squad behind cover and activated her helmet's tactical display. The Kralith were big, nearly 3 meters tall, with thick scales and natural armor on their backs and shoulders. They carried plasma rifles and looked confident, like predators who had never met anything that could challenge them. "Contact in 30 seconds, Yunha whispered into her radio. "Spread out. Overlapping fields of fire. On my mark." The Kralith rounded a corner, moving toward what looked like a collapsed residential building. They thought survivors might be hiding in the rubble. They never saw the humans waiting for them. "Mark," Yunha said. The human squad opened fire. Their weapons were not plasma rifles. They used what Earth called battle rifles, firing solid bullets at high velocity. The sound was sharp and loud in the quiet ruins. The Kralith hunting pack never had a chance to react. Within 3 seconds, all 6 aliens lay dead in the street. "Clean kill," Yunha reported, moving to next target. Across the colony, similar engagements happened. The Kralith soldiers were strong and well-armed, but they had never fought an enemy like humans. They were used to fighting species that ran away, that hid and begged for mercy. They did not know how to fight an enemy that moved faster, thought quicker, and struck without warning. Corporal Jamin found himself facing a Kralith warrior in close combat. The alien charged at him, confident in its size and strength. Jamin had grown up on Earth, where the gravity was stronger than most planets. His bones were denser, his muscles more powerful. He sidestepped the charge with easy grace, drew his combat knife and drove it into the weak point where the Kralith's neck met its shoulder. The alien dropped without a sound. The Kralith began to panic. They were the hunters, the predators, the ones who inspired fear. But these humans were something different, something worse. The Kralith tried to regroup, to form defensive positions, but the humans hunted them with ruthless efficiency. Within 2 hours, every Kralith soldier on the surface was dead. Taeho returned to the shelter complex with his teams. They had lost no one. 3 soldiers had minor injuries from falling debris, nothing serious. The Kralith had lost 40 soldiers and gained nothing. "Surface is secure," Taeho reported to Daewon. "No more hostiles detected." Daewon nodded. Around them, the Villani survivors were emerging from the shelter, blinking in the daylight. Dr. Su-jin had set up a field hospital near the entrance, treating the wounded with help from the Villani's own medical staff. Human engineers were already working on restoring power and water to the surviving infrastructure. Theria approached Daewon, watching the humans work. Her people were being treated, protected, helped. After 4 days of terror and death, they were finally safe. "I do not understand," she said quietly. "You are warriors. We can see that now. You destroyed 3 warships. Your soldiers eliminated the ground forces with ease. You are clearly powerful, but you are also gentle with us. You treat our wounded. You help rebuild. What kind of warriors are you?" Day One looked at the Volani survivors, then at his crew working to help them. "We are human," he said. "We come from a planet that tried to kill us in every way possible. Deadly predators, extreme weather, diseases, disasters. We survived by learning to fight anything that threatened us. But we also survived by protecting each other, by helping the weak, by standing together. We know what it is like to be afraid. We know what it is like to need help. So when we heard your call, we came." "Your world sounds terrible," Theria said. "It is," Day One agreed. "But it made us who we are, and right now I am grateful for that." Young-Soo approached them, carrying a data pad. His expression was worried. "Captain, I need to speak with you privately." They moved away from the main group. Young-Soo pulled up information on his pad. "I interrogated one of the Kralith soldiers before he died." "Captain, this was not a random attack. It was a test. Explain, the Kralith Dominion is preparing for a major expansion. They have been testing the defenses of colonies throughout this sector, determining which ones can resist and which ones cannot. This attack on the Volani was part of that testing." Young-Soo looked up from his pad. "Captain, there are 30 other settled worlds in this sector. None of them have significant military capability, and the Kralith main battle fleet is gathering 3 systems away. 120 warships. They are preparing to conquer this entire region." Day One felt his blood run cold. "When?" The soldier did not know exactly, but he estimated within 12 days. Daiwan looked back at the Volani survivors. Innocent people who had suffered 4 days of hell. He thought about 30 other worlds, other species just as peaceful and defenseless. He thought about the Kralith fleet descending on them all, burning and killing and conquering. "Contact the Eternal Horizon," he told Young-Soo. "Prepare a message to Earth Command. Tell them we need reinforcements immediately, full military deployment, and tell them we need it in less than 2 weeks." "They cannot get here that fast," Young-Soo said quietly. "I know," Day One replied. "But we are going to buy them time anyway. Contact every settled world in this sector. Tell them what is coming. Tell them to prepare. And tell them that Earth is coming to help." Young-Soo stared at him. "Captain, there is one of us and 120 of them. Then we will need to be very smart about how we fight." Day One looked up at the sky, where the Eternal Horizon waited in orbit. 1 exploration ship against an invasion fleet. It should have been impossible. But humans had a history of doing impossible things. They just needed to survive long enough for Earth to arrive. And Day One was determined to make sure these innocent aliens lived to see that day. The message room aboard the Eternal Horizon was small and quiet. Captain Day One stood alone, recording his report to Earth Command. Behind him, through the viewport, the planet Valeth turned slowly, still bearing the scars of the Kralith attack. "This is Captain Day One of the exploration vessel Eternal Horizon. We encountered and responded to a distress call from an alien colony under attack by a hostile military force called the Kralith Dominion. We engaged and destroyed 3 enemy warships. Ground forces have been eliminated and survivors secured. However, intelligence gathered from captured enemies indicates a major invasion fleet of approximately 120 warships is preparing to attack this sector. There are 30 settled worlds here, all with minimal defensive capability. Request immediate military reinforcements. Time is critical." He attached all the tactical data they had gathered: Kralith weapon specifications, shield frequencies, ship designs, combat tactics, everything Earth's military would need to fight them effectively. Then he sent the message in a compressed burst, knowing it would take hours to reach Earth and hours more for a response to return. While he waited, Day One had work to do. The Eternal Horizon departed Valeth orbit, leaving behind a small security team to help the Volani rebuild. The ship began visiting the other settled worlds in the sector, and what Daiwan found amazed and worried him in equal measure. The first world they visited was called Quarus Prime, home to a species called the Quarith. They were silicon-based life forms, strong and durable but completely peaceful. When Daiwan explained the Kralith threat, the Quarith Council members looked at each other in confusion. "We do not fight," the eldest counselor said. His body was crystalline, catching the light in strange ways. "The Kralith demand tribute from us each year. We pay. It is better than war. They are not coming for tribute anymore," Day One told them. "They are coming to conquer. To enslave your people and take your world. Then we will hide underground. We will survive as we always have." Day One felt frustration building. "And if they burn your surface? If they poison your atmosphere?" You cannot hide from an invasion fleet. The counselors talked among themselves in their musical language. Finally, the eldest turned back to Day-Wan. You say you destroyed 3 Kralith warships. 1 human ship against 3 of theirs. How is this possible? Let me show you, Day-Wan said. He brought the Quorith leaders up to his ship and arranged a demonstration. The Eternal Horizon moved into high orbit, where targeting drones had been deployed. These drones were programmed with Kralith tactics and weapons patterns. Minji gave the order and the drones attacked. The Quorith counselors watched in silence as the human ship danced through the simulated battle. Every drone attack was countered. Every human weapon struck true. The engagement lasted 4 minutes, ending with every drone destroyed and the Eternal Horizon barely damaged. Your species evolved for this, the eldest counselor said quietly. It was not a question. No, Taeho replied, standing next to Day-Wan. We evolved to survive predators, diseases, natural disasters, and every other challenge our world threw at us. War is just what happens when we apply those survival skills against enemies. We did not want to be good at fighting. Our planet forced us to be. The counselors were silent for a long time. Then the eldest spoke. What do you need from us? Evacuation plans, Day-Wan said. Underground shelters. Supply caches. We have reinforcements coming from Earth, but they need time to arrive. We need every species in this sector to prepare for survival. Can you do that? Yes, the counselor said. We will prepare. Over the next 8 days, the Eternal Horizon visited world after world. The aquatic Mersani, who lived in vast underwater cities. The insectoid Trivex, who built sprawling hive structures. The plant-like Verdani, who had never imagined violence could exist. Each species listened to Day-Wan's warning. Each species agreed to prepare, but none of them could fight. On the 5th day, Earth's response finally arrived. Day-Wan read the message alone in his quarters, his hands shaking slightly. Reinforcements approved. Fleet Admiral Kyung-hee leading Rapid Response Force, 40 warships. Ida, 16 days from your position. Hold position and gather intelligence. Earth is coming, 16 days. Day-Wan did the calculations. The Kralith would arrive in 12 days according to their intelligence. That meant 4 days where the sector would have to survive on its own. 4 days with only the Eternal Horizon standing between 120 warships and 30 defenseless worlds. He called his senior staff together and showed them the message. Nobody spoke for a moment. Then Minji laughed, a sound with no humor in it. 4 days. We need to hold off an invasion fleet for 4 days with 1 ship. Not alone, Young-Soo said. He pulled up data on his pad. The Mersani have offered their underwater cities as refugee sites. The Trivex are sharing their mining explosives that we can use as orbital mines. The Quorith are building fortified shelters. They cannot fight, but they can help us protect their people. That is not going to stop 120 warships, Minji said. No, Day-Wan agreed, but it will save lives while we delay the fleet. That is our job now. Buy time and minimize casualties until Earth arrives. Taeho studied the tactical displays. We need to know exactly when and where they will arrive. Can we get intelligence on their fleet movements? Young-Soo nodded. I have been monitoring Kralith communications channels. They are not being subtle. They believe this sector is helpless. I can track their gathering point and estimate their arrival time. Do it, Day-Wan ordered. I want to know the moment they start moving. And I want defensive plans for every world in this sector. We cannot save everyone, but we will save as many as we can. The crew worked without rest. Hana established communication networks linking all the settled worlds. Young-Soo trained local aliens in basic defensive protocols. Dr. Soo-jin set up medical supply caches on each world. Engineers taught the local populations how to maintain life support in sealed shelters. On the 10th day, Young-Soo burst onto the bridge with urgent news. Captain, the Kralith fleet is moving. They have left their gathering point and are heading for the sector. But there is something wrong. Show me. Young-Soo brought up the intercepted communications. They are not sending 120 ships. They are sending all of them. The entire Kralith battle fleet. And they are not coming to conquer gradually. They are coming to destroy everything at once. Day-Wan felt cold spread through his chest. Why the change? They intercepted some of our communications. They know we are here. They know we destroyed 3 of their ships. They have seen footage of the battle. Young-Soo looked at Day-Wan. Captain, they are afraid of us. They have decided to eliminate humanity before we become a threat. They are bringing everything they have. Minji pulled up the fleet composition. 120 warships all converging on the Sigma Reach. It was the largest military force this sector had ever seen. When do they arrive? Day-Wan asked. 11 days, 1 day before Earth's fleet. Then we need to make sure there are still people alive to save when our reinforcements arrive. Day-Wan stood up, addressing his entire bridge crew. Send the warning to every world. Full evacuation to shelters begins now. No exceptions. Everyone underground or underwater within 48 hours. The Kralith are coming, and they are coming for blood. The sector transformed over those final days. Millions of aliens moved into protected locations. Ships that could not fight were hidden or sent away. The Eternal Horizon remained in high orbit above Valeth, visible to all, a single human ship standing guard. On the 11th day, Young-Su detected the Kralith fleet entering the sector. Their ships emerged from faster-than-light travel in perfect formation, a wall of warships that blotted out the stars. Day-Wan sat in his command chair, watching them come. 120 against 1. Impossible odds. A battle they could not win, but they could delay. They could frustrate. They could make the Kralith pay for every minute, every kilometer, every life. And somewhere behind them, racing through the darkness, Earth's fleet was coming. Admiral Kyung-hee and 40 warships carrying the full fury of humanity. The Kralith thought they were bringing overwhelming force to crush a threat. They did not understand that they had just made the worst decision in their empire's history. They had threatened the innocent. They had attacked the weak, and they had done it where humans could see. All hands battle stations, Day-Wan ordered. Communications, open a channel to the Kralith fleet. Let us see if we can buy our people one more day. The Eternal Horizon powered up its weapons, shields, and engines. One ship, standing alone against an invasion fleet. Standing because someone had to. Standing because innocent lives depended on it. Standing because that is what humans did. The Kralith fleet advanced, confident in their power. They were about to learn that power was not enough. They were about to meet Earth's most fundamental truth. When you hurt the innocent, humans come for you, and they do not stop until justice is done. The Kralith invasion fleet filled the space around Valeth like a dark cloud. 120 warships, each one massive and heavily armed, arranged in attack formation. Their weapons were charged. Their shields were active. They had come to crush any resistance and claim this sector for their empire. On the bridge of the Eternal Horizon, Captain Day-Wan watched them approach. His ship was alone in high orbit, one vessel against an armada. Behind him, his crew worked at their stations with calm efficiency. They knew the odds. They knew this was likely a suicide mission. But they also knew that millions of innocent aliens were hiding in shelters below, praying that someone would protect them. The main screen flickered. A Kralith face appeared, and Day-Wan recognized him from the intelligence reports. War Master Grakos, Supreme Commander of the Kralith military. His reptilian features showed confidence and contempt. Human Captain, Grakos said, his voice translated by the computers. I offer you one final chance. Surrender your vessel and leave this sector. You have fought well for such a primitive species. There is no shame in retreating from overwhelming force. Day-Wan leaned forward in his chair. You attacked a peaceful colony. You slaughtered civilians. You came here to conquer and enslave. I gave you a warning before. You should have listened. Grakos laughed. One ship against my entire fleet. Your courage is admirable but meaningless. You will die here, human. Your species will become a footnote in Kralith history. You should have left when you had the chance, Day-Wan replied quietly. You should have listened to our warning. Because you have made a terrible mistake. And what mistake is that? Day-Wan smiled, cold and dangerous. You assumed we were alone. Grakos' expression changed, confusion replacing confidence. His sensor operators began shouting alerts. And then the human fleet arrived. They came out of faster-than-light travel in perfect formation. 40 warships, each one purpose-built for combat. They were not exploration vessels like the Eternal Horizon. These were Earth's military ships designed and built for one purpose: to win wars. Dreadnoughts with armor thick enough to shrug off nuclear weapons, carriers launching fighter wings that moved like schools of predatory fish, cruisers bristling with missile pods, destroyers built for speed and precision strikes, and at the center of the formation the flagship Indomitable, massive and terrible. From the Indomitable's bridge, Fleet Admiral Kyung-hee opened a channel to all ships in the system. Her voice was clear and absolutely certain. This is Fleet Admiral Kyung-hee of the Earth Defense Fleet to all Kralith vessels. You attacked our people. You threatened our allies. You came to this sector to wage war on civilians. We are here to show you what war really means. Surrender immediately, or we will destroy you. Gracchus stared at the human fleet on his displays. His intelligence had said nothing about this. Nothing about a human military this large. Nothing about warships this advanced. He had brought 120 ships, the largest force his empire could field. He still outnumbered the humans 3-1. He made his decision. All ships attack. Gracchus roared. Destroy them! The Kralith fleet surged forward, weapons firing. Plasma bolts filled space, thousands of them, all aimed at the human vessels. It was an overwhelming barrage, the kind that had destroyed countless enemies before. The human fleet did not try to dodge. They flew straight into the fire. And then the Kralith learned what Earth's engineers had built. The plasma bolts struck the human ship's shields and simply dissipated. The shields did not flicker or fail, they held. Then the human point defense systems activated. Hundreds of small weapons tracking incoming fire and destroying it before impact. Missiles that would have crippled the Kralith's previous enemies were intercepted and destroyed. Return fire, Admiral Kyung-hee ordered calmly. All ships weapons free. The human fleet opened up and space itself seemed to scream. Railguns fired in synchronized salvos, accelerating solid metal to impossible speeds. Each shot carried more kinetic energy than most species used in their entire weapon systems. The Kralith shields, designed to stop energy weapons, did nothing against solid mass moving at relativistic velocities. The first volley struck the Kralith fleet. 20 ships lost their shields instantly. 10 more suffered catastrophic hull breaches. Atmosphere vented into space. Internal explosions rippled through their vessels. The human fighters launched, small craft moving with incredible speed and agility. Pilot Bora led her squadron in the attack run on a Kralith capital ship. The massive enemy vessel tried to track them with its weapons, but the fighters were too fast, too nimble. They struck weak points in the ship's armor, their weapons precise and devastating. The Kralith ship lost power and began drifting. Second wave fire, Kyung-hee commanded. The missile cruisers released their weapons. Thousands of missiles launched, each one faster and smarter than anything the Kralith had encountered. The enemy tried to intercept them, but human missiles had countermeasures. Decoys, evasive programming. They slipped through the Kralith defenses and struck home. Explosions bloomed across the enemy fleet. Ships broke apart. Debris scattered. Within 5 minutes of combat, the Kralith had lost 30 vessels. The humans had not lost a single ship. Gracchus watched his fleet die and felt something he had never experienced before. Fear. Real, absolute fear. His empire had conquered this sector through superior force. They had never met resistance they could not overcome. They had certainly never met anyone who could destroy their ships this easily. All ships, evasive maneuvers, he ordered. Spread out. Do not let them concentrate fire. The Kralith fleet tried to scatter, but the humans adapted instantly. They broke into smaller battle groups, each one hunting Kralith vessels with ruthless efficiency. The human ships moved like predators, coordinating their attacks, covering each other, showing tactical awareness that the Kralith could not match. Captain Daewon's Eternal Horizon joined the battle, targeting Gracchus's flagship specifically. The exploration vessel might not have the firepower of a military dreadnought, but it was still a human ship. Its railguns hammered at the flagship's shields while missiles struck its engines. You called us primitive, Daewon said over an open channel to Gracchus. You laughed at our warning. How does it feel now? Gracchus did not answer. His ship was dying around him. Control stations exploded. The hull groaned under stress. His crew was panicking, something Kralith warriors were never supposed to do. All ships retreat, Gracchus finally ordered. Full power to engines. Escape to FTL. But the human fleet had anticipated this. They had positioned ships to block escape routes. Any Kralith vessel that tried to flee found human destroyers waiting, ready to cripple their FTL drives. The Kralith were trapped, surrounded, being systematically destroyed. Admiral Kyung-hee watched the battle from her command chair. Her tactical officers called out target eliminations with mechanical precision. Her fleet was performing perfectly, just as Earth's military had trained for. They had spent centuries preparing for war against unknown threats. Today all that preparation paid off. Gracchus's flagship is disabled, her tactical officer reported. They are venting atmosphere, Life support failing. Board them, Kyung-hee ordered. Take the War Master alive. I want him to stand trial for what he did to the Villani. Human Marines launched from assault ships breaching the crippled Kralith flagship. They moved through the corridors in combat armor, their weapons ready. The remaining Kralith warriors tried to resist, but it was hopeless. Within 20 minutes, Grakos was captured, his command staff secured, his ship taken as a prize. The battle continued for 6 hours total. When it finally ended, the Kralith invasion fleet had been destroyed. 120 warships reduced to 15 survivors, all of them heavily damaged and surrendering. The human fleet had lost 3 ships, all of them repairable. Casualties were minimal. The Kralith had brought their entire military might to crush a threat. Instead, they had been crushed. Admiral Kyung-hee broadcast a message to all the worlds in the sector. This is Fleet Admiral Kyung-hee of Earth. The Kralith invasion has been defeated. You are safe. The Sigma Reach is now under Earth's protection. Any species that threatens the innocent will face the same fate as the Kralith. We will defend you. In shelters across 30 worlds, millions of aliens heard the message. They emerged to find human ships in orbit, protective and calm. The nightmare was over. The predators who had terrorized them for generations were gone, and they had been saved by a species they had never known existed. On the surface of Valith, Theria stood outside the shelter, looking up at the sky. She could see the human ships, graceful and deadly. These strange beings from a death world had heard her people's cry for help and crossed the stars to answer it. A landing shuttle descended, carrying Captain Daewon. He stepped out, removing his helmet, and walked over to where Theria waited. It is finished, he told her. The Kralith will not threaten you again. Earth is establishing defensive stations throughout the sector. We will train security forces on each world, not to make you into warriors, but to give you the ability to call for help and hold until we arrive. Why? Theria asked. Why would you do this for species you do not know? Why risk your lives for strangers?